in our marriage, when we drink too much water, we have a very specific way of saying it. And usually Ian is like, I drank too much water. I also read something recently that says baby talk in a healthy relationship is like good and normal. So I feel pretty good about that. Hello, welcome back to another episode of India and Stuff, the stuffiest show in town. Bum, bum, bum. Today, I just want to bring some thoughts to your brain nugget for the day. There's something going down here on the internet, and I want to talk about it. My name is Jessica Jones. Let's uncover underconsumption. We're talking about underconsumption today because as a thrifty, sustainable girl, you know that I love it, but I don't love that it's trending. Dun, dun, dun. And we're going to dive into why. And I hope you tune into this episode. I hope it's something that's helpful for you. And I hope that afterwards you go around your house, reevaluate everything and go, how can I do this better? I'm not trying to be mean. Like, we have way too much stuff as well, but that's just what our challenge is today. Y'all ready? Okay, let's do it. Okay, so if you've been around TikTok, Instagram, any corner of the internet in the last few months, you've probably noticed this trending. This is the underconsumption core trend. And I think I actually reposted it like the very first week I saw something about it because I loved the idea of it. It was this really sweet looking influencer who is a huge thrifter and loves to kind of post about her journey with thrifting and living more sustainably. And I got a hair in my mouth. One second. Okay, so she was saying underconsumption core, like, let's make this trend, and going around her house showing the ways that she kind of like reduces, reuses, recycles normal things. So like reusing plastic container, like if you get, sour cream at the store and it's in a plastic container, or butter, like rinsing that out, reusing it as a leftovers container, repairing clothes that have been ripped and then rewearing them, like upcycling fashion, not just like buying a new outfit every time something doesn't fit. And I think she took like a pair of old rain boots and used it as like a tomato plant and put it on her back porch, like that kind of stuff, right? Kind of showcasing that even though society seems to be like, get the new shiny thing or always buy something brand new from this shop and this creator, blah, blah, blah. She was just highlighting how important it is to reuse the stuff you have and instead of overconsume, underconsume. I love it. I can get behind it. The other thing though that's kind of funny about this is like, I'm like, of course we should be recycling those containers and reusing things and rewearing things. Like, that's like normal living. But then I had to like check myself because I'm like, wait, how many people out there don't think that that's normal, or think that, every time something breaks, you buy a brand new one, or every time there's a hole in your outfit, like you just throw it away and you go order it again on Amazon. Am I making anyone uncomfortable? Like, I don't know. I just really thought that's how everyone was. Like, we were all out here reusing old containers and old baggies and like using stuff until it breaks. But I don't know. I just kind of was like, oh, wait, maybe like so many people don't do this. And this is the first time this concept has been brought to their attention. Like, I'm just trying to think of putting myself in the shoes of like a 16-year-old girl that would be 11 years younger than me in a world where there's TikTok and there's TikTok shop and there's Instagram ads and there's Pinterest ads and there's YouTube ads and there's podcast ads.
Hey, is your skincare toxic? It turns out no one is really digging into the research as to what we're putting on our skin and how it affects us, especially as women. Oftentimes, skincare and beauty products are full of hormone-disrupting chemicals that can mess with your ovulation and toxic ingredients that do way more damage than good. Okay, I have to confess, I usually do not know what I'm putting on my face and which brands will counteract with each other. That's why I'm really, really happy to finally have Primally Pure in my home. Primally Pure is the cleanest skincare company I have ever come across, creating mindfully made skincare. Their stuff is sourced from animals and plants, and come on, what is more natural than that? I recently got their clarifying mask, and no joke, I could almost eat every single ingredient on the list. Things like beef tallow, organic orange extract, raw honey, and vitamin E make the cut, and honestly, my skin feels super baby smooth after using it. Like I said, there are some clean, powerful ingredients in this socially conscious brand lineup, and I cannot recommend that enough, you guys. Take 10% off your order at Primally Pure by using code India and Stuff 10 at checkout. That's India and Stuff 10 at checkout, or just click the link in the show notes. Back to the show.
And there's all these ways that every time you're engaging online, you're getting fed ideas that can sometimes be helpful and sometimes be hurtful. But the main thing that's being fed through all these ads is you need more. You need more clothes. You need more accessories. You need this lifestyle. You need to try this brand and do this. And TikTok Shop is having a sale, and Instagram only 40% off today, Labor Day only. Like everywhere you look, especially as a young, impressionable girl, is another reason to buy something so that you can be something that you're not, or that is like saying you have to buy and spend to be someone else because you yourself as you are is not enough. And that's just not okay. That's just not real. But it's just interesting. I think, unfortunately, we're in an age where most of our theology doesn't come from the church anymore, like just in the world at large. I think it's coming from the internet and peers. And when one viral person goes trending for promoting some product that may or may not be useful and helpful, that then becomes the standard of, oh, okay, well, she's cool and looks like that and has that product, so I want to be cool, so I'm going to get that product too, even though we don't know if that was a paid ad for just an actor who's, making UGC content for that brand, if that product actually works, if it's made of garbage, if it's manufactured in a sweatshop. We don't know. But all we see is the final product, which is a shiny ad in the middle of our scrolling, and go, oh, I want that. I need that. I'm getting that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just find I get a little queasy at the way the world's going sometimes, and kind of grieve the fact that most young, impressionable girls who are growing up will never just have this simple upbringing anymore. I know a lot of parents are jumping on the no technology trend, at least for a while, like till 16 or 18. And I think that's great. I really think we should all be doing that. But just the fact that that even wasn't an option until I was at that age anyway, it's just sad to think that that's always an option from here forward. And the only thing to really prevent it from truly impacting these kids and their lives is going to be monitoring it. And monitoring something is so much harder than, inventing it from the start and watching it slowly happen. It's going at such a fast pace. And this is from a non-mom. I don't have any kids. I got cats. But like I said, you've probably noticed, in the last 5 or 10 years, TikTok Shop is a thing. You can't scroll on Pinterest without seeing ads. You have an option to pay just to block the ads from YouTube. You can't listen to a Spotify episode without an ad popping up in it. And, thunder. And there's just all kinds of advertisers and advertisements competing for our attention every single day. So it's important to be aware of it and important to let it be what it is, which is just a message that may or may not be helpful, morally neutral, and evaluate it from there. I used to say I was not very someone that was easily influenced by an ad. And then somewhere in the pandemic, I remember specifically sitting in bed watching Disney Channel in the middle of the day because I was depressed. And they had an ad for Olive Garden, and they showed the breadstick lifting up out of the bread basket. And I turned to Ian. I was like, babe, we need to go to Olive Garden tonight. And he was like, you're easily influenced. And I was like, yeah, but we need to go to Olive Garden. And he's like, okay. And then we did. And that was my downfall. But anyway, underconsumption, the idea of not, being super easily influenced, especially with products. We're not really talking about other things like going to Olive Garden or vacations or whatever. We're talking about products specifically, because those are the things that stay and linger and last and then eventually end up in a landfill. So how do we combat this? And I think I need to address why I'm saying that I don't like that underconsumption is trending. Again, I love the idea of people getting on board with using less and being more sustainable in their lifestyle choices. I don't like the idea of it trending and then people go, oh, that trend was so 2024. You know what I mean? I don't like that it's getting categorized as something that is trendy right now, but then in 6 months, people will forget about it and go back to, this is the product that you need to make your hair so shiny, even though you have 27 products you haven't even used already. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about underconsumption being the standard of whether you have a lot of money or a little bit of money. Like, all of us should use what we have and be grateful for it and only buy new things that are absolutely necessary and replace what's broken in our lives instead of just overbuying, overspending. And so that's why I'm like, I love this concept. I just don't like that we're calling it a trend. This should be the bare minimum that we should be doing for Mother Earth. I don't want to be problems, no solutions. Nothing is more frustrating to me than a super woke person who's just like venting about something, but offering zero solutions. I'm sorry, honey. That's not how activism works. We have to actually provide answers, provide options and practicals. So I have some practicals for us today. Some areas where we can reevaluate our underconsumption. So this is, again, just like my thoughts from my life and the areas in our home and in our lifestyle where I'm like, oh, we probably have too much of this, or we could probably do this better. I'm just going to share my thoughts. First thing we could reevaluate for underconsumption is skincare. I am not your queen when it comes to like knowing how to do skincare the right way. I don't think you can tell, but I mixed 2 different foundations together to try to get the right match because I bought the wrong shade and I don't really think I can return it since I already opened it. So I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to skincare necessarily, but I do know that the less ingredients in the product, the better. The cleaner, low tox, not tested on animals, like fragrance free, those are the products that really, really stand out and are much better for your skin in the long run and your wallet typically. So I highly recommend, instead of buying more and more and more, again, I think I've ranted about this a little bit before. When it comes to this like skincare, beauty influencing vibe, especially on TikTok and YouTube, people are like, this is the Drunk Elephant Under Eye Drop, and this is a different brand's gooey sunscreen. And then I do 12 layers of a primer and then a matte finish and then a glossy finish. And I'm like, and they're all from different brands. You never know if they're going to react against each other on your skin, which I have had happen. My eye, literally, I had like a chemical reaction because my face serum was reacting to my new under eye cream because they were from a different brand and it was not going well. And I had like a line where the 2 intersected for the longest time. It was like a huge rash. I was like, what the heck? So again, I don't think we need all these things. I don't think so. I use products from The Ordinary. They're very clean and they're very inexpensive. I use their retinol. I use their hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, and the caffeine solution. So I have 4 products. All of them range between $8 and $16 a piece. None of this $56, $78, 25 ingredient serums that probably you're talking up a storm and don't do anything visibly different to your skin. Talking about like the inexpensive, clean, low list of ingredients. I really want to get into Primally Pure ingredients here soon. Those are the higher end for pricing. And again, budget era. So we're not there yet. But just because there's a couple of skin goals that I have that I'd like to try. But yeah, I just think there's so many easier solutions. Another one is, I lost my train of thought. Oh, here we go. Instead of like a super high-end hair oil, get some jojoba oil for $10, organic jojoba oil on Amazon, and you put it on the ends of your hair and it promotes hair growth. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to spend $55 on this fancy, fragranty hair oil. You can, and maybe it will do something a little different than the cheap jojoba oil. But those single ingredients really tend to actually go a really long way. Another idea would be mix essential oils with plain Epsom salts, and you have your own salt soak for your bath instead of getting something at the store, usually pretty expensive with lots of chemicals in it, lots of little things you don't need. And if you want to spruce it up, add some honey, add some evaporated milk to your bath, add some tea leaves. These are all natural, amazing things that are going to promote skin softness, hair growth, and it's all what you're paying for, but usually it comes with all these preservatives that you just didn't need. Okay, another one you could try would be lip scrub is just raw sugar and olive oil. I've tried it. I've made it. Tastes delicious. Like you don't need to go spend $22 on a lip scrub at Sephora. You can make this at home and usually it's pretty good. So thinking of those ways, not necessarily just DIYing everything, but just consuming less, getting cleaner ingredients, like 1 to 2 serums or skincare things rather than this whole big array of different brands and all these 12-step skincare routines. Like, no, we're good. We're good with that. We're over that. We're leaving that behind. Okay, I was going to say also making your own soap is a great underconsumption core thing. It's not too hard to do, though I haven't tried it personally. I've like really gotten close to doing it. I just have too many hobbies right now. But I want to get a soap mold and do some soaps and everything. But it's kind of like still just as expensive. So another great alternative is just getting a bar of soap from Dr. Bronner's, which is like very good, very clean, and you can use it multi-purpose. So like your hair, you can do it on your body, you can, put some in the tub, you can do whatever you need. I even we shred that up and add it to our laundry detergent when we make laundry detergent. Super easy, very good. And if you're not going to do bar soap or for whatever reason you don't want to do that, please stop using the plastic single-use soap dispensers. I'm talking about Bath and Body Works. I like the foam too, guys, but come on. Like, that's so wasteful. Could we get a glass refillable hand pump and just refill it with liquid soap? Listen, I'm just talking out loud. Okay, the next area we could reevaluate some underconsumptions. Food, and I'm not talking about just like, don't eat food. That's so stupid. Like, eat food, enjoy food, nourish your bodies. But I'm talking about like leftovers, ingredients that get stuck in the back of the fridge, things that die in the freezer, I think we struggle with this a lot too. I'll go and get excited about eating healthy. I'll buy the organic spring mix from Aldi and some cucumbers and come home thinking I'm going to eat a week worth of salads. And then 12 days later, 6 days later, it's like, it's like moldy and mildewy and wilted. And so I usually just toss it out at that point. But I've been trying to say, okay, if I buy like the spinach or something and it's kind of wilty, it's not moldy, but it's just like not looking its prime. You can toss that into a soup. You can freeze it and toss it into something later. Like you can fry it up. Kale, you can do that as well. Like put some water on it, rinse it off really well. And you can fry kale with like pine nuts and salmon or pumpkin. So there's so many ways we can like reuse the veggies, even if they feel like, oh, they're going bad. Or especially with like fruit, if I'm like, oh, I bought this whole container of peaches or the whole thing of apples, it's not working. I never tried to freeze an apple, but I was going to say freeze your fruit if it's going bad. Onions, if you're like, oh no, I don't think I'm going to eat all these, slice them up, toss them in a bag, put them in the freezer. Jalapeno peppers, same thing. You can freeze just about anything. So thinking more like, how do we use what we have? How do we make this last? But I want to just get better at like, once we make a meal, then the leftovers sometimes are hard to get through. So just either making less from the beginning so that less goes bad, but also just like the other ingredients in my fridge, like finding new creative recipes for those versus thinking like I have to buy all new ingredients for a brand new recipe every single time. Okay. Clothes, another one, a huge one. Y'all know that the fashion industry is like the most wasteful industry in the entire world. It's ruining the planet, honestly. The fast fashion industry is not good. We don't want to participate in her. We do not like her. But we also live in a world where fashion is happening now and we all have to wear something. We can't be naked, unfortunately. So we can combat this when things like micro trends in fashion start happening, like those little ones that don't feel like a big giant, ooh, everyone's running out to get loafers, because people will eventually run out to get loafers. I think of it like this, like Birkenstocks. They have been around for a long time, but they've definitely had moments where they're trending. And like every youth pastor, every hippy dippy girly is out here getting Birkenstocks. And then there'll be seasons where no one's buying Birkenstocks and no one's wearing them in the celebrity culture. So the sales go low. And then the OGs are still happy with their Birks, but it's not like it's a trending item. So I'm not talking about something that's like a mainstream trend. I'm talking more about like these micro trends, like, the year 2000, I think, is a bigger trend that's going to stay for a while. People will always kind of gravitate, what am I talking about? 90s. I mean 90s. 90s fashion, thinking of like what the Friends cast would wear, like what Jennifer Aniston would wear, like, you know, tube tops or tiny skirts, denim, and like the all-American girl look. That will always be a trend. But like Y2K fashion, a pink top and bottom velour tracksuit, not gonna always be trending. Maybe it's just like hot for a moment and then it goes away. So we can push back and say, you know, that's not something I'm gonna have in my closet for a long time. That's not so timeless to me. I don't think I'm gonna get that this time. So pushing back on micro trends, just evaluating every time when something that, you know, pops up in your feed or at a store and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that, I need it in my closet. I think some of the best shopping advice I've heard is like, wait for 24 hours. And if you still can't stop thinking about it, or you still really, really like it, go back and get it. Or if you're shopping online, then you can order it. But if 24 hours passes and you're like, what was it again? Or if you know, go home and reevaluate your wardrobe and go, that actually wouldn't match anything I already have, you usually probably shouldn't get it. It's all good. But the other thing with clothes that I love the idea of is like upcycling and repairing. That's just not even a trend. Like, I feel like our ancestors are laughing at us going, haha, it's trendy to like stitch your clothes back together when they tear. Talk about privilege. And I'm not a sewer or a seamstress just yet, but I really want to get into that more. Obviously, when we have a tear in our clothes, we just sew it back up. But I'm talking more about like, oh, I have an old pair of jeans that doesn't fit. I'm going to like tear the seams out and add extra fabric and make something new. Like, that's the kind of level of sustainable I want to be at soon. Okay, 2 more things for us today. The next thing we can reevaluate when it comes to underconsumption is containers. So again, this one to me is just like basic living, but reusing glass containers. If you get olives, if you get tomato sauce, if you get pickles, rinse it out, wash it out, run it in the dishwasher, scrape the label off if you want to with some Goo Gone, boom, ready to go. We have a very specific, the grilled olives from Trader Joe's. Chef's kiss, one of my favorite snacks of all time. Those containers are fabulous. We have them everywhere and I use them all the time and they're amazing. So get yourself some grilled olives. But I like those containers a lot. Obviously, pasta containers, wash it out, reuse it. It's not weird, it's cool, you're saving the planet. Plastic, it's not our favorite thing in the world. Microplastics are everywhere now, but if you can get rid of it altogether, please do. But obviously you're probably gonna still go to the store and buy something in a plastic container, like sour cream, chip dip, whatever, yogurt. So when you have those and they have the little lids that you can reuse, is my camera on 4%? 4%. If it's like a reusable container, then reuse it. Like, even if it's just to hold like little mismatched things or office supplies or rubber bands, or if you're gonna use it for a plant pot, like, you know, if you don't need it, then obviously try to toss it in the recycling. But if you have a use for it, or if you were gonna go out and get small plastic containers for organization purpose anyway, why not just dress up the ones you have? Okay. Canvas tote bags, also in the container category, or any reusable shopping bag. That's a big one for me. What I just find interesting is I was just in Canada recently, and they're like at the store when you're checking out, they're like, do you want to pay for a bag? And I was like, no, I'll just walk out and carry these. And they're like, okay. And that's as easy as it is. You just walk out with your groceries, or you bring your own bag. And that's just, again, one of those things that other countries do this so well, and it's not hard. But for some reason, America's like, we need a plastic bag. How are they gonna get to the car with their yogurt? It's like, they're gonna put it in their canvas bag. It's gonna be fine. Anyway, I have feelings. Okay, and the last thing to consider when it comes to this is gifts. You've heard me talk about this before. I'll probably talk about it again before Christmas. Gifts, especially with kids, they don't have to be so crazy. We don't have to buy all these extra things and toys and shirts that they're gonna grow out of. Like, shop secondhand for some clothes. Vintage kids clothes would be so cute. When it comes to toys, less is more, I think, and the kiddos can use their imagination. Like, I don't know, I just think when it comes to this, like, underconsume, go less, say, what could we do as an experience versus here's another one of the exact same toy that you have. So those are my thoughts, but what are yours? Let me know. How can we underconsume? How can we do life better? And most importantly, why did my camera stop recording? Oh no. Well, anyway, I think this stopped recording, so that's good. But anyway, I hope your day's going great. I hope you have a fabulous evening, and we'll see you next time.